Evening, everyone, to the podcast for the Rangers Journal. My name is Dave Thommo, and I'll be your host for this evening. I'm joined tonight by Billy and Scotty. First of all, how are we doing, Billy? You all right?
Yeah, mate. It's been a nice weekend, so and a good result. So I can't really complain. And it's been a nice day as well today. So yeah, sun shining.
Excellent. And how are you, Scotty?
I'm absolutely brand new, mate. Absolutely brand new. I'm not getting lured into a false sense of security, but
start it off on a positive. Well done, mate. Well done,
mate. You know me.
So yeah, thank you to people that are joining us, watching us live, and get involved in the comments, and we'll get a few comments put up and have a discussion about it. So we're obviously going to start reviewing the game from Sunday, where played Hearts in the Scottish Cup semi-final. So I'll come to you, Billy, first. We'll start with the starting lineup. Butland, Tavernier, Balogun, Suter, Sterling at the back. Midfield with Diamandi, Lundstrom. Then in front of those two, you had Matondo, Campbell, Sima, and Dessers up front. What did you make of that starting 11 when it came out?
Well, I guess the big elephant in the room is Connor Goldson. There's no other way to describe it. He was dropped. He hasn't been playing well for, I would say, a good couple of months, and this has been in the post for him. I guess we just never had anybody. I think Balogun's had a bit of sickness and injury, so there's nobody really, and same with Davies actually, there's nobody really to take his place. But it was badly needed. Players that seem to think that they're undroppable need a wake-up call from time to time, and hopefully this does help him. And if he gets himself back in the team, he'll try and get back up to the standards he's had in the past. But that's the main thing for me. The rest of the team wasn't a particular surprise, but no Connor Goldson. To be fair, there could be if it had not been for other injuries, there could be a couple of other players dropped from the last couple of weeks' performances. So that was the big one. The rest of the team, don't think there was much else I could complain about.
No, definitely. And same to you, Scotty. Was there any surprises? Were you happy with that starting 11?
I was more than happy with it. I think Matondo's come in for a wee bit of criticism since his performance yesterday, but I think any time Matondo get a ball, you'll notice that Hearts were doubling up on him. So in terms of freeing up space, that's why you play a winger. Hearts wouldn't have doubled up on Fabio Silva, but I can tell you that for a fact. Goldson being dropped needed to happen. It shows that the manager has got something different about him than Gio and Michael Beale. In terms of performance and stuff was good. Kind of puts us all back on track. It'll be interesting to see how the team builds upon it. And if Goldson was rested, as Paul's been saying, I think he replied to Billy in one of the comments, if Goldson has been rested, then what do you do with Balogun? Like, where does Balogun go in all this? Because the guys come in, he's shored up with defence, just be being there, just simply be being there. Tavernier looked a completely different player yesterday with winning second balls and whatever else, showing a wee bit of fight. He looked as if he had a bit of confidence in the man next to him. So, do you bring him back in? Do you bring him in and play him left-sided centre backs? It's open for debate, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my point of view with it was we've been saying for a few weeks now, Goldson has regressed, and if there had been options there, he probably wouldn't have been playing against Dundee. And I think it has taken a bit of a ballsy call from Clement to drop him. I think it was deserved, but as you say, Balogun came in and the defence just looked a lot stronger with him there. So getting into the game, I personally thought we started on the front foot. First couple of minutes, the ball's been put in and Dessers has had a half chance, which has gone wide. And then in the 5th minute, he's got his goal. Good work from Campbell. First bit of it, I would say, is really good work from Tavernier. Looks like it was a foul on him. Could have rolled round, got up, got on with it, played it to Campbell, who's passed to Dessers. What was your thinking on that first goal, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, I was screaming for a free kick, not knowing well, to be honest, we don't normally get what happens after that. Tavernier fighting for the ball, and I can't take it away from Dessers as much as I've been critical of him the last couple of weeks. That was good footwork, great composure on the ball, and probably going to be an underrated goal because he still has this kind of clumsy way about him, but that was a good finish yesterday. So, yeah, it was just good for us to finally come out the traps. As you say, Thommo, that we were the one that came out firing this time, unlike the Celtic game and even the Ross County game. I didn't think we came out flying, and Dundee we never came out at all. So it was just good to relax you a little bit, and a few minutes into the game, you're a goal up. And that's what we've been looking for. We've been crying out for just some passion, some fight.
Yeah, and the way Hearts started the game, Scotty, did that take you by surprise in terms of the last couple of games? Last 3 games, we've conceded chances very early on with teams getting in our face, and Hearts just seemed to set off us, didn't really come at us and let us have the ball. Was that surprising to you, or do you think we just started on the front foot and we didn't really have any other option than to sit back?
I think Hearts started how any team would have started against us on Sunday, to be honest, because the way Diamonde and Lundstrom were pressing up the park in terms of creating almost that kind of compact shape in and around the Hearts half. Really, really hard for Hearts to get out of that. The way Rangers set up and the way Rangers set up's credit to the manager. The structure was definitely back. Diamonde does make a difference to midfield. Lundstrom looked as if he was playing with a wee bit of freedom again, covering a lot of space. But I don't think Hearts started great, but then I purely put that down to Rangers, to be honest with you, Thommo.
Yeah. And as I say, I'll hold my hands up. Before the goal, I was giving Dessers a little bit of stick because of his sort of miss on his half chance. But like Billy says, took the goal really well. I thought really good footwork and a nice composed finish. That puts them on, I think it's 19 for the season now. And we've been critics of him, but we can't argue with that goal return. Whether he's going to be the long-term future, probably not, but took the goal really well. We continued in that vein during the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, but unfortunately we had a blow after 15 minutes. Seymour coming off with what potentially was a hamstring injury. Seen something today that it might not be that bad, but again, we were talking a few weeks ago about signing Seymour and potential injuries. His history of injuries. Is that becoming a concern for you, do you think, Billy?
It definitely is, because we give, was it Roof we gave stick for a few months back for coming off in the first few minutes of a game, and this is again, and I mean it's a problem with fast players. They're going to pull muscles. It's the first time I really considered yesterday, like maybe we shouldn't push the boat out for a player who's sitting with how many weeks off injured this season? A good few, and it's to do with muscle-related injuries. And who knows what would have happened in the game if he'd continued to play? Because I thought he was looking good, and it was a bit of a scunner, to be honest with you, for it to happen so soon into the game. And to be fair to McCausland, I thought he did his defensive work pretty well, but I don't think he was going to ever give us what we've lost with Seymour coming off yesterday. But it's a worry. It definitely is a worry for me going forward. I know you're saying it's not going to be. You don't think it's going to be a season end or a long-term injury, but is this going to happen again in 2 weeks' time? Can we rely on him? So it's one for the watching.
Yeah, and as Billy says, Scotty, he's replaced by McCausland. He's not really been featuring that much the last few weeks due to injury, maybe a little bit of loss of form. What did you make of him when he's come on and his contribution to the rest of the game?
I think in terms of contribution to shape, Ross McCausland will always give you a good kind of positional sense in a right wing role. He'll always give you width. He's always capable of cutting inside. But he's definitely plateaued now. I'm obviously a big fan of youth players getting a chance, but you always get that initial rise when they come in, and then they kind of dip and plateau. And I think that's where McCausland is just now. I think he's very much doing to come on to get back in the training ground with the wee man and get working with him. It's time now. He's enough. What's that, maybe 20 appearances or something he's had this season. He's done enough, but I think it's time he needs to start contributing with assists and goals. Very good ball carrier, very good prospect. I'm happy he's on a long-term contract, but for just now, I wish Seema was available to take that right-hand side, because it's vacant, and it has been vacant since Daniel Candace left it, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, we certainly looked a lot more dangerous when Seema's there running at players. My criticism of McCausland yesterday was there was 2 or 3 really good opportunities where the ball's played to him, and he just needs to take one touch and get it in, and he takes 2-3 touches and plays it back, and like you say, Scotty, just not contributing in terms of the assists and the goals. But I thought he was solid enough when he came on. So as the sort of half progressed, I thought for the first 25 minutes we were really in control, but then after, say, 25 minutes or so, we seemed to start to, I wouldn't say struggle, but passes were going astray, sort of running out of ideas a little bit, and Hearts were coming back into it. And it reminded me a little bit of the Ross County game, where we just couldn't seem to settle. And then Hearts are coming back into it. What did you make of it, Billy? Sort of 25 minutes up to half time. Were you concerned that Hearts were getting a foothold and might get a goal back?
I felt it was more to do with the press, which was, if we could have gotten in, over it and past it, we probably could have got a few more chances. But they were pressing fairly well. We weren't getting much opportunity, and I think maybe that's what it felt like, that they were getting some kind of joy out of it. But to be honest, they never really, had any decent shots or any kind of danger areas. I remember from the first half. Any of the kind of danger points I'm remembering from the second half. Scott, were you going to say something? I just seen your hand up. Sorry.
It was quickly on McCausland. Like, see his goal against Aris Limassol, where he shifts the ball quickly with the outside his right boot and drives it into the bottom corner. We're not seeing enough of it. It's the same with Dessers as well. Like, Dessers would have 25-30 goals this season if he didn't try and chop everybody. He chop his granny for the opportunity. Don't get me wrong, his goals looked lovely yesterday. They came off, but when they don't come off, you're shouting and balling at the telly. If you're at a game, you're giving them dogs abuse. So it's about wants these teams to be quicker, to play quicker, play the direct ball quicker, take a throw in quicker, take a corner quicker. Don't know what we're doing with set pieces yesterday. Maybe talk about that later on. So in terms of hitting shots and making passes, needs to be quicker. If Ross McCausland can add that to his game, he'll get numbers. But
just to finish on that, Thommo, so I never really felt that Hearts were much of a threat, despite us kind of going out the game a wee bit. You started noticing Lundstrom, who I thought had actually started pretty well, carrying the ball forward. He was going back to the defenders again and taking it off them just on the edge of the box and kind of falling back into that routine. So it was more to do with it being hemmed in, I think, rather than Hearts being particularly great.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that springs to mind in that first half was the save from Butland. Shanklin's put the ball in. I think it's Kent who's gotten the end of it, and Butland saved it. But looking at the replays, I think it would have been given offside had he scored it. But it was still a brilliant save from Butland. In that first half, what I noticed was the pressing from our defenders, especially Balogun, getting tight to their centre forwards and not letting them turn. That's been a massive issue the last couple of games, where the opposition have had the freedom of the park to do what they want, but Balogun especially was getting in there. What did you make of Balogun's contribution, Billy, yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I think he took Shankland out the game, bar one header that he probably should have scored from. I think Balogun did really well in keeping him quiet, because I don't remember his name being mentioned more than a handful of times. And even then, it was him trying to drop deep to get the ball and to get something going. He had a real problem with his teammates at half time, if you noticed them going off. He was screaming at them, and I think that was probably down to the frustration of not being allowed to be in a position to receive any decent balls, and that's all down to Balogun. And could you say you hand in your heart that Connor Goldson would have done that job yesterday? Because I don't think I can, because he's not done it in the other games, despite the fact that Hearts haven't really been a bogey team for us the way that maybe Celtic have had. I think we've coped pretty well with them, but that was a good masterclass in how to control, or how to kind of make Shankland kind of null and void in a game. And I know, Scott, you're a big fan of him, but
can I come in quickly on your
yeah.
point? See how you're saying that he's like, obviously he did drop deep. He put a good ball in for Frankie Kent. It wasn't accounted anyway, but I think that's part of his all-round game, is to drop deep. See, in terms of him screaming and balling at his teammates, I think he was arguing with Cammy Devlin getting off the park. And there was another one in the second half where he was on a counter, and Barry Mackay ran inside instead of running down the line, where Shankland gave him it tight. Do you not think it's that kind of leadership? We need somebody like that in a squad that's going to, if we've got people like Tav setting the tempo at the back, you need leaders throughout the whole team to me. And I'm not banging the Shankland drum again, that's not what I'm meaning, but in terms of filling a leadership void that's clearly there just now, because the core of the team's been getting hammered, I think that's something that we'd potentially need to look at further up the pitch.
Yeah,
I mean, I do think. I do like Shankland. I'm not criticising him yesterday. I just think he was kind of dealt with by Balogun fairly well yesterday. But yeah, I mean, you can't really say you can't have too many leaders. If everybody was shouting and balling at each other, that wouldn't be a good thing either. But I think I like your point there, Scott, that we don't really have anybody taking the leadership roles at the front end of the park. There's nobody. It's not like you see Dessers laughing with goalkeepers after they make a save. I don't see Shankland doing that with anybody. So no, you're probably quite right.
No, I think after the game, I think Clement made a really sort of good point about Dessers, and that he's too nice, and he needs to be a bit more nastier. Maybe, I mean, Clement didn't say
too late for that, Thommo.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, he's 28, 29. Can you get that into your game? But it's if he had that bit of a nasty streak in him, and like you say, when he laughs and jokes, when he's missed a chance and smiling, that irritates the hell out of me. And as you say, we need a little bit more of that further forward. I'm not saying people need to be shouting and bawling and telling their teammates that they're garbage or whatever, but there needs to be something there that I'm disappointed here. We need to do better. So we're getting into the second half. We're fairly comfortable at half time, and second half I think we're expecting Hearts to really start throwing a bit more at us, but never really comes, and we start creating more opportunities. I'll come to Todd Cantwell. Personally, I thought that was his best game in a long time, in terms of his tracking back, his tackling. But then when he was getting the ball, he was just absolutely full of confidence, taking players on, making things happen. And that's what we want to see from him. Do you think Billy Cantwell has that in him to do it game in, game out? Or do you think he's going to be one of these 1-3, 1-4 players when he'll turn up when he feels like it? Because I thought yesterday he was pretty much unplayable for most of the game, and Hearts couldn't handle him.
For me, it was suicidal tactics by Hearts, to be honest with you, Tom. They left him, and just he was always in space. And I know Scotty mentioned earlier on about them doubling up on Matondo. If that was the gamble, I don't think it paid off for them, because the 2 goals come from Cantwell having so much space to set them up, that it's not that you can't do that. If every team gives him that space, Cantwell will do that 4 out of 4. But he's not getting the space normally, and I think he mentioned in his post-match about how it's his job to break down tight defences. So if you're going to give him that space, he's going to have a field day with it, isn't he? Because you're right, that's the best performance I've seen from him in a wee while, but I think it's purely down to the tactics Hearts. For some strange reason, I've not seen an explanation of why they gave him so much space, because for me, he's our most dangerous player, or potentially our most dangerous player.
Yeah, and what do you think? What did you think of his work rate out of possession of the ball? How did that come across to you?
I noticed him. He was all over the place, like he always is, really. I know he got hooked at Dundee, and obviously me and you, Scotty, were sitting there. I thought in the Dundee game he was the only one like a live wire on the park, but it obviously wasn't coming off for him. But yesterday he does what he does, and sometimes he delays, and I notice he'll go with the ball and he'll hold on to it a bit too long, and maybe something doesn't open up for him, and he decides to try and go himself. Can we work on that with him? As you were saying, Scotty, the decision making, not decision making, the speed of decisions, Clement wants to be done a lot faster. Sometimes I felt yesterday Cantwell was holding on to the ball a bit too long, despite him still having a really good game.
And what's your thoughts on Cantwell yesterday, Scotty? As I say, I thought it's the best he's played in a long time. Obviously, he got 2 assists. Could really have been a bit selfish when Dessa's got his second, but laid it off to him. So, what was your thoughts on his performance yesterday?
My thoughts on Campbell's performance was he was very good, and I think I've seen him play for Rangers like that, but maybe 10 times in a year and a half he's been here. Let's put this into context a wee bit, right? Yesterday, papered over cracks. What's just happened in the previous 3 matches in the league prior to yesterday has ruined probably the league title coming to Ibrox, right? That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Paul, thanks for the shout out again. So we've improved with Jack Butland and goal. Tavernier's going to stay. He's always going to contribute. Goldson's been dropped finally for the first time since God knows when.
Has he ever been top scorer?
Don't think so, unless he's been injured.
Yeah. The only time he's been missing really is through injury. Yeah.
Aye. So see if you look at Lundstrom, I doubt he's going to get dropped. I would love to see Sterling coming in once Redfan's back into Lundstrom's position. For Clement, he shows that he is capable of changing it up. Now he's done it with Goldson, fine as a start, but it's not going to fix all our problems just getting rid of one guy. There's a core of at least 6, 7, 8 players there. Nico Raskin came on yesterday, showed it in spells. This is a problem with the team. They're only showing it in spells as individuals. They're not. Cantwell will show you in flashes. Desser's goals yesterday were brilliant, but that's his first goals for the 24th of February. That's not good enough to be a Rangers number 9. Rabbi Matondo hits a wonder goal against Celtic. Saves the league potentially. And Tartsai potentially saves the league title. Yesterday he's crowded out. Doesn't know how to play against it. Seema makes a difference, but then he gets injured. I mean, there's just a full catalogue of errors throughout this squad. And the whole thing in the summer needs ripped up, started again. Completely needs ripped up and started again. The youth set up isn't working. None of the young boys. Cole McKinnon was coming in for a while, making an impact in matches. He's not about to be seen. McCausland's plateaued. Lovelace has picked up another injury. Rangers are in a bad way, a very bad way. And if we don't win this league this season, we're going to be even in a worse way. Because I'm of the opinion that Celtic are going to go out and spend this £60 million because they've got it. They've changed the head of scouting, so therefore they're changing their strategy in the transfer market. So to me, this result yesterday, as much as it was good and I'm happy we're in the cup final, and Clement's made improvements to the mentality of the team. There's no doubt about it. We've got a top class manager, and we've probably punched above our weight with this squad, being fair. But guys like Cantwell and guys like Dessers, who are on a lot of money, Tom Lawrence too comes into that category. They're on a lot of money and they're robbing Rangers of a wage 9 times out of 10. I'm sorry to say it, but they are. That's the brutally honest kind of assessment where I'm at with this Rangers squad. I am still so scunnered it's not real over his last couple of results. Honestly, it's terrifying that we've still got another 5 matches to go, and if we manage to win a league, then brilliant. But I don't think it's going to change my mind, if I'm being honest.
I'll come back to your point there, Scott, about papering over the cracks. And a cup semi-final, I can only speak for myself, but it didn't feel like a cup semi-final. It felt like an earlier round game where, you win or lose. Do you know what I mean? And that's on the back of the last sort of 3 results where we were getting, excuse me, we were getting close. We looked like we were going to go ahead of Celtic and have a real good run at the title. And now those 3 results, it just leaves you feeling, well, when's the next disappointment going to come? And that, I mean,
Saturday probably.
Is Scott being fair? Do you think, Billy? I think he's being fair with what he's saying. I think he is. I've got to be honest.
I can't say he's not being fair because he's probably saying what I've thought at times. I'm a bit more, or I was at least until I came on this pod. I was a bit more upbeat about the situation. Now I'm happy we're in the final. There's no Rangers fans going to sit and go, "This is a successful season if we win the 2 cups and not the league." Like we need to be winning the league, especially with the money. I was talking to a friend today, and he was saying about how the automatic places start to kind of disappear from the season after. So the opportunity for us to make money, difference-making money, is vastly disappearing. So I don't disagree with anything Scotty said. Not as harsh on Cantwell. I think he's been okay, as much as okay can be. The other ones, I mean, a couple of weeks ago we were crying out for Matondo to get a start. I regret that now after seeing him yesterday. And I know Scotty was saying he was marked out, but I don't know what impact sub. I think is probably his best position. So I don't see what we're going to get from him starting. I mean, if we get any chance of this league, yeah, of course we do. I think technically you could say it's in our hands, but do you trust that team? And I don't think I'm there with the trust. I don't think they've not earned it because they start the season awful. They get a manager the sack. Now, fair enough, a lot of that's on that manager. You get a really, well, I'm pretty impressed with Clement since he's come in. He's improved us to the point that we could have been, 5 points ahead with different results. And if you're going into the last, 5 games of the season, that with that points difference, it's a world away from the situation we're in just now, which is 3 points behind, probably 6 points if you count the goal difference. So no, I don't. There's no trust there, and until they prove me wrong, why should I trust them?
No, you're exactly right, and I agree with what you say about Matondo. He had those goals against Hibs and Celtic back-to-back weeks, but whenever he started games during his Rangers career, I really can't think of many. I can't think of any games really where he's had an impact when he started. He's got a lot of pace, but doesn't seem to have much else.
There was one yesterday in the second half where he, for some reason, tries to dribble around the player when all he needs to do is knock it beyond him and run onto it. That's what he's good at. Is he's got explosive pace. So why he thinks he can, or why he wants to try and dribble, and you seen Clement was going mental at the side of the park as well at that time, because there was so much space in behind the defender that just knock it and run onto it. But I don't know if he's got that game mentality, game intelligence to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Has he got that footballing brain? And that's the issue now. Depending on how long Seamer's going to be out for, it looks like it's going to be a choice on the left between him and Silva, who, again, Silva's another one who's just completely gone off the boil. And obviously,
has he ever been on the boil? I mean, I said this when we talked about the signings coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, a handful of moments. I wouldn't even say a handful of games. He's been decent, but yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I'd rather not see him play again for us. But what other options do we have?
Yeah, I think it sums up how he went when he had that chance yesterday when Dessers squared it to him and he just don't know what happened.
So do you want to take a vote on that? Do you think it was a dive, or do you think he just got his suds caught?
Oh no, I think he just got his feet muddled up. I don't think he's dived. It's he's certainly not appealed for anything, you know.
Definitely dived. 100%. That was a dive.
Right.
He thought there was contact at the back of him and he's fell.
But there's not a player within 5 feet of him.
No.
I know. But I think it's a dive just because it's Silva. Just because he's antics recently, to be honest.
Yeah.
Thommo, can I just come in on Curry's point?
Yeah. Go on. I was going to bring it up, but crack on.
So he said that we need a wee bit of perspective. We were in the running a cup back in October, last 16 of Europe. Can we really be disappointed? I think we can be disappointed. I need to disagree with Curry on that one because, yet again, we've been led down a garden path. And the core of this team have crapped on us for a great height.
I'll agree with you there, Scotty. Sorry, Curry, I've got to disagree with you, pal. That's been the same thing we've been hearing for the last, apart from 1 year, obviously when we won the league, for the last 5-6 years.
Right.
Well, we're in last X of Europe. We're in cup finals, cup quarter final, whatever it might be.
Fair enough, Curry.
And it's the same thing we've been hearing every year for the last 5-6 years, and we start getting to the point where, as Rangers fans, are we settling and being happy to be second? I know I'm not. I want us to win everything going, but is there that element within the support that's like, well, there's always next season, and the next season comes and it's exactly the same story. So,
I mean, Thommo, 6 games into this season, but we're all sitting going, "Oh well, there's next season."
Yeah, and I'll hold my hands up, Billy. I was one of those people because I just couldn't see anything going forward under Beale, and maybe I was a bit harsh on Beale, and it was the players. But we need to start. We need to start winning the league. Cups are brilliant. Last 16 of Europe's brilliant, but the league is where we need to be. We need to be winning, and we fought back to get into a position where we look like we're going to go and do that. And quite frankly, we shat the bed. Now, it is only 3 points and a 5-goal difference. But as you've said, Billy, can we trust these players to pull us out of it? And I don't think we can. So going on a little bit further to the game yesterday, we obviously end up winning 2-0. Dessers gets another goal, sets up the, which I'm surprised about, the first Old Firm final, Scottish Cup final since 2002. What's your thoughts, Billy, going into the cup final? Confident or a little bit apprehensive?
I'm definitely apprehensive because we've not laid a glove on Celtic this season. So, and to be honest, in cup games recently, we've not laid a glove on them either. So, no, not confident. What does give me a bit of confidence is the manager saying that we could have a couple of players back. So, Danilo is a possibility. Cortez is a possibility. What state these players will be in, if they can even play 60 minutes by this point, we don't know. It's just another season of what we're saying. How unlucky are we with these injuries? There comes a point where it's not luck anymore, and it's just what happens to us. But for underlying reasons, which I'm led to believe the manager thinks he's got to the bottom of, but we're not going to see the benefit of that knowledge till next season, are we? So, I mean, I'm over the moon to be in the final. It gives us something to look forward to, and I'm pleased with the players. I think they played reasonably well yesterday. 9 times out of 10, you play like that, you'll win. So, I'm happy about it. I'm more get this expected in the background of the next league game that I'm more worried about, because are we going to see the team that played yesterday? Are we going to see the team that played at Dundee, the team that played at Ross County, the team that played at home to Motherwell? What team are we going to get? Because I don't even think the manager knows.
Yeah, so just on that, Scott, obviously you'll be doing a preview on Friday about the game away to St Mirren. Do you think he sticks with that team that we had out yesterday? Obviously Seema might well be injured, but if all's being well, sticking with that team. Anyone deserving of sort of being dropped, do you think?
I would rotate Lundstrom, and if Ridvan's back, I would put Stelling into Middeley Park. Just one to prove a point from the manager to the support. And not that Lundstrom was bad yesterday, wasn't he? But if you look at his performances over the course of his contract, he doesn't want a new one for me. Not consistent enough. He's part of the problem. I've quite rightly tore into a squad today, even though they've come out with a great performance yesterday. The cup final gives us something to kind of play for. It's a one-off game. Knowing Rangers will probably fluff it between now and end of the season and win a cup, I would probably say this team plays better with no pressure on their shoulders. There's a kind of mentality that the same impression I'm getting from the squad. It needs to stay the same. Centre back pair needs to stay the same. I thought Suter wasn't great yesterday. I thought he was maybe a wee bit error prone at times. You know, that's what you get with Big Suter. If you're bringing Goldson back, I would probably ring Goldson in next to Balogun on the other side, next to whoever's going to be playing left back. It's a conundrum. We've got a chance, don't get me wrong, we've got a chance to kick on and win our last 5 matches, but I can't see a squad going to Parkhead and getting a result. You'd need to hope they draw or lose a couple of matches for us to have a shot at winning this league. I think that's being realistic. I don't think that's kind of hopeful or nothing. I think that's realistic in terms of what we need Celtic to do for us to win the league. Instead of a couple of weeks ago, it was what we had to do to win the league. I think it's changed now. I think the goal difference is massive as well. We all know when Big Andrew's in charge at Celtic, it's like an extra point. They lose one match, they're still 5 goals ahead currently. So it's up there, don't get me wrong. Celtic are on the good side, but they seem to have a better mentality than us right now, and they seem to have hit a bit of form. They've got injuries back that we don't. I think that's what it falls down to. But my lineup, that would be the only change, would maybe be Bill Lundstrom coming out and putting Sterling in the mid-lane back. Sterling needs to start every match. He was outstanding yesterday.
Yeah, considering he's out of position, you know, left back, right-footed player at left back. He was excellent. He's always nipping in and giving that energy. That's why I like him in midfield. And that brings me on to my next point, really, having Diomande back in there. Did you notice a difference, Billy, with Diomande back now compared to the last 2 games?
Of course, mate, night and day. And when he first came in, I was impressed by him. I thought he took a wee dip before he got injured, but yesterday was showing. I mean, he was all over the place, wasn't he? If Lundstrom's going to play well, he needs to be with a player like that. We had a proper midfield again yesterday. It felt rather than the kind of makeshift one. Why Dowell was ever played there last week, I don't know, but. Yeah, he needs to start. I don't believe Lundstrom will get dropped, Scotty. Not that I agree that he needs it, but the stuff the manager was saying after the game about how he loves him and Lundstrom loves the club and what got something out. You just want to just want to say to him, like, that's the kind of player that will get you the sack, because he will play well for 2 months. But for the rest of the season, he'll play like he played the last 3, 4 games even before yesterday. So good to. I mean, I'm a big fan of Diomande, so it was good to see him yesterday. And there was one where he had Hearts players round about him, and he did some wee shimmy, and all of a sudden he's 10 yards away from them. So we've not had a player like that, and he is destined probably, if he keeps going, for bigger things than us, unfortunately.
He was. He's very comfortable taking the ball in tight spaces, and as you say, just a drop of the shoulder and he's away. He sends a Hart midfield for out for a pasty, sends him out the ground. You were mentioning before, Scott, about our set pieces yesterday. Corners, we doing a few short corners, weren't we? Trying to mix it up a little bit. I remember when Diomande first came in, he took a few corners for us. And seemed to be able to whip in a real dangerous ball, but I think that was maybe up at St Johnstone. But since then, we've not seen it. What's your take on the set pieces? Do you think we've just getting the ball in the box isn't working, so we need to try something else, or just running out of ideas?
I think if you're going to take them short, then you need to take it short and whip it in quickly. I don't think you can take it, play it out the edges. I know. Taking it, playing it out of the edge of the area, and then letting 5 Hearts bodies run at you is essentially what happened yesterday. Weren't moving the ball quick enough for the way obviously come on wanted the set pieces to work. Set pieces can get you 10-15 goals a season if they're done right. We've seen it in the 55 season. We keep reverting back to the 55 season. I'm actually sick of myself saying it, but it's the truth, and it's the standard, and it's it is what it is. I know Clermont likes working on set pieces, but I think for Clermont's sake, he needs to get a set piece coach in the summer. I think it's absolutely he's had since October, and we've maybe scored about 1-2 corners since he came in October. He's had plenty of time in the training. Aye, he's had plenty of time in the training pitch to fix it as well. It's not his niche. I'm sorry to tell you, mate, but it's not corners, isn't it? Clermont's niche, because we're not scoring for them, we're not making a difference, and we're still conceding a hell of a load for them as well. So something needs to change in the summer in that department for me, Thommo.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd say we seem to be going short, coming 25, 30 yards out, and then looking to try and get a ball back into the back post, and it was just, I don't think any of them really came off.
Thommo, there was one that they passed it out and then did another pass before trying to cross it in, and as Scotty saying, there's already 5 players, closing down both those players. It was just a pointless. It seemed like it was change for change's sake, and there was a couple of times Cantwell came quite quickly to receive it, and he was kind of ushered away by Tavernier.
Yeah, and you mentioned there, Scott, about how important corners are. I've seen something the other day, Arsenal down in obviously the Premiership, they've scored something like 15, 16 from corners alone this season, and it's those small margins that make a massive difference.
Thommo, it's nearly as important as having Jack Butland and goal a corner, because Jack Butland can win you 10 points a season, and so can corners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The other side of it as well is, how much is it then on the players who are in the box having that desire to get on the end of something? Because I don't see it that much in the games, and even when we do, 9 times out of 10 it's goals, and I don't want to have too much of a go at the guy, but the headers just seem to go all over. There's no direction, or there's no that I'm sticking this in the net here. It's more of a hopeful thing than I'm actually going to do it. So yeah, I suppose how much is it on the players, Scotty, rather than a set piece coach? Set piece coach can come in and go, yeah, do this, do that. But at the end of the day, the players need to have the ability to stick the ball in the net.
I think the players need a structure for work corner kicks, so, and they've currently not got that structure. Like something as simple as, RRFC 72 saying it about a reboot at front post at a corner. That's how simple it is. Stick Sterling there and get me nod it on. Stick anybody there. Give the guys for the beginning of the season, getting back to like Lammers and Tav was saying at the beginning of the season, I feel as if I'm playing in the Landay Giants, and never scored one corner.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you're setting up to be a big physical team, be physical. Dessers is all of a sudden the nicest guy in Glasgow. What? Do you know what I mean? I don't want my Rangers number 9 to be the nicest guy in the planet. No. I want him to be a big fucking. I want him to get tore right in. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny, Scott, because I think Defoe was interviewed recently talking about Morelos and how off the park Morelos was the nicest guy in Glasgow. Aye. As soon as he stepped over that line, he was a pit bull and wanted to win everything and wanted to get everybody on. That's what you need.
100%.
You can be a nice guy, but not in the park.
Yep, totally agree.
Yeah. And again, that's where I think it comes back to the desire to get in there, take out whatever's, even if it's your own player, take out whoever you need to get on the end of that ball. And I think that's what we're missing. And I think that's the difference between us and Celtic at the end of the day. They have the players who will go that extra yard to either get the goal, get the tackle in, whatever it is. And that is a mentality that we are missing. And you can't build that into players. They either have it or they don't. You know,
we're missing the leadership in a team that can get it out the players, Thommo. Because going back to Elisa Ferguson, you look at Shankland yesterday. roaring at absolutely everybody in that Hearts team to get the finger out. Like, simple wee things like that. And it comes from having Scottish players in your team that know the club. And I'm not saying bring in a full core of them, but bring in one or two just to see if Ryan Jack wasn't as unfit. We're missing a lot of leadership in Ryan Jack, because I think in the middle of that park he was quite. I mean, you look back, Scott Arfield, Alan McGregor, Stephen Davis. See, look, that's 3 guys we've lost this season who quite rightly were replaced. Before I get slammed in the comments, quite rightly were replaced, but there's an awful lot of Rangers men in there that have left the club that knew only there. And my worry is in the summers that Cotton and Clement are going to fill us with cheap foreigners, and we're looking at a Paul Le Guen here all over again. Libor Sionko, Philip Sebo, Carol's fencing. You're looking at players like that. Christ, I am on one tonight, aren't I? That is my main concern. I love the markets. I love the 2 signings in January, but we were also here this time last year when Raskin and Cantwell come in. But we can trust Bill gave him the keys to the kingdom, and he went into someone he's absolutely hoofed it for us. Do you know what I mean? We need to go back to basics.
Yeah. So on that then, Billy, is there any sort of Scottish, British players that you can think of? Obviously, we spoke about Shankland. But is there anyone else you think that could come and be a starter in this team? Because that's what we need now. We don't need squad fillers. We need people who've got the ability to come in and be in that starting 11 and make the difference.
I can only comment on. I don't watch a lot of the other teams out with playing against us, to be honest. But I did watch the other semi-final, and I thought Connor Barron was one of the best players for Aberdeen that day. Whether he does that the whole season, I don't know. I don't know enough about him, but it's a name I've seen mentioned. I mean, it's difficult because can these? I mean, we said about Lewis Ferguson, he couldn't step up, and now look where he's playing now. So it's easy to say, can players such and such come in and step up to being a Rangers class player? Well, we don't know until they're relatively. I would hope they'll be relatively cheap options. I mean, when you're going to talk about signing something like Miovski, okay, that's going to cost a lot of money, but for the kind of decent Scottish players, they're not on huge contracts at these other clubs, your Motherwells or your Hibs or whatever. So there's got to be players there for the taking. He just stood out to me because I thought he played pretty well on Saturday.
Yeah, he's been a boy that when we've played against. I don't watch much of Aberdeen, but whenever we've played against them, I've always been impressed with him. I think he's a decent player, and I believe he's out of contract in the summer. I think I've seen talk about him possibly doing the Lewis Ferguson route, going abroad. But again, it's asking, are those questions being asked? And like you say, Scotty, are we just going to get filled with foreigners who maybe see us as a stepping stone? And that is a danger, isn't it? That we do fill our team with players that just aren't good enough and don't know the history and what it means to be at Rangers. Because coming second is no good. If you come in second, you finish behind Celtic. That's basically the be all and end all.
That's it. I think, see where Connor Barron's concerned, I think what my understanding is he wants to move to Italy. He rejected the Rangers in January, didn't want to sign a free contract. That's fair enough, but the club needs to leak that out into fans somehow, so that we know that they're trying like homegrown players. Do you know what I mean? They need to be smart about it. That there is players out there. There's a like Paddy McNair. He's out of contract at Middlesbrough. He's a well-known Rangers fan. Northern Ireland international, can play centre back, can play centre midfield. I'm seeing in the comments about Ollie McBurney. Ollie McBurney's no. Why would anybody want Ollie McBurney? He's getting to the table not filled enough without bringing Ollie McBurney up the road.
For me, though, Scott, it needs to be more than just somebody who's a Rangers fan.
Aye, 100%. They need to be quality as well. All I'm saying is we need that mindset we've seen off of Shankland just up, and it doesn't necessarily come from Shankland, but you only get that mindset in Scotland. that kind of somebody that's going to grab Dessers and say, "What are you doing? Rile him up, fire him up." You see it if a Todd Cantwell when Todd Cantwell gets smashed in a game, you seen it at Hibs earlier on this season. He was totally sandwiched, flung into a billboard, and then he came out and smashed one into the back of the net. So somebody needs to instill that kind of anger and mentality into these players. And the leadership just now, we've not got it. Do you know what I mean? And that's how we've no leaders at the Tapway Park. There's none in the wide areas. There's certainly none in the middle. Lundstrom tries, but the only time I've seen a kind of vice captain performance after Lundstrom was the semi-final against Celtic a couple of years ago when he was pulling Bassey away for helping Celtic players up off the deck. No, that's what I want to see, that mentality. But you've seen it once in 4 years, and it's not enough. It's not good enough, which is why when we're stripping it back in the summer, you need to look at it and you need to go, right, how do we get the basics right? Because the basics haven't been right for the last 4 or 5 years now. Do you know what I mean?
How do you think Scotty would go about identifying these players? What's the secret? What do you think the secret is to them getting it right and getting the right blend of players in? Because we know in this day and age, the background checks and the social media's checked everything. It's not just about your ability on the park anymore, is it? It's everything. So what do you think Clement and the director of football and what I need to do in the summer to identify these players?
I don't know. It's hard. It is hard to, because there is only really about a handful of players you could probably look at in the league. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Lennon Miller and David Watson, right? I would probably rather David Watson because he's had more of an impact in the big matches. But are these guys ready to come in and make an impact on a Rangers starting 11? And you look at, I mean, we would have had a goal scorer playing for us by now, but he buggered off down to Aston Villa with Steven Gerrard and Rory Wilson. He's 18, he's ripping it up down there. I'm under no illusions he'd have been Rangers number 9 this season. They would have been brilliant. So you've really got to be smart. The one that stands out to me, Shankland, because you'll get him between 2.5 million. I like your boy Armstrong at Kelly. He can cut in on his left foot. He's done a damage against the Old Firm. Connor Barron's an obvious one. David Watson at Kelly. There is players there. It's just kind of finding them. I mean, you look at what Lewis Mayo's developed into at Kelly. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be right to let him go because he's not been rubbish. He's been one of the best players this season. But we follow a couple of Kelly pods on Twitter, and he's been far from rubbish. So is that one we've kind of lost it on? It's just small things like that, and they don't need to start every week. You can just bring them in as squad players. Like when I say about Shankland, I mean make him part of your striking department because he's still going to be in there. He's still going to be having an influence. You just need to be smart with it, and it needs to be with a mixture of. Like you need all the right ingredients. You need not necessarily guys with a title winning mentality because you can create that and come on as the man to create it. But he's not got the right tools just now to get it over the line. Do you know what I mean? So it's about identifying it and finding it and bringing it in.
Can I come in, Scotty?
Aye.
Because a question I'm thinking is, are these players better than what we've got, like Bailey Rice or whatever, or are they just getting more game time to develop a bit more? And would it be more beneficial to send our players out for a season, like Kilmarnock, for instance, to get them that time so they can walk into our squad next season? Or are these young guys playing for Kelly, Motherwell, Aberdeen, are they better than what we've got? And if they are, why are they better than what we've got? Why do we not have them?
I would say... No, you go, Tom.
Well, sorry, just on that point, Billy, we have sent players out on loan and then they've had no impact. I mean, I'm thinking sort of recently, I say recent, Stephen Kelly, he was sent out on loan and came back, got a couple of games, never really done anything, and then went off to Livingston. And then you've got the other sort of younger lad who was talking, he's back in the squad now, Alex Lowry. He went out on loan. Are they just not good enough? That's where it has to come back to at times, in my opinion. They're just either they're not good enough or the players that are in front of them are better, which, looking at some of the performances of the players in front of them, that would be a huge sort of like red flag. if they're not if they're not being able to put any sort of pressure on those. You go back to the likes of Nathan Patterson. I believe Tavernier was playing out of his skin when he had Patterson basically up his backside, pushing him. And if his performances dropped, Patterson would have been in the team. And I don't think we've got that with some of the youngsters that are coming through now, and sending them out on loan just doesn't seem to work. Don't know what your thoughts are on that, Scotty.
Seeing you look at like Archie Stevens, right, who you spoke to the Dagan about, mind that was the boy that Brighton were linked with, and we've got no right midfielders or no left wingers just now. Why are you not bringing a young boy in and giving him a chance? Like, how worse could the last week have been with Archie Stevens on the wing than anybody else that's played? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the management when you're 3-0 up at home to Ross County? How are you not bringing Leon King on for John Lundstrom and sticking him in the middle of the park instead of letting Lonnie run about till he's absolutely buggered and then he runs out of steam in an important game? How's it not getting managed properly? That's my biggest question with youth recruitment. I done a pod with William for RFC Youth Updates for a Gallant Few last year, boys, right? And he told me in his opinion that Bailey Rice was a better player than Lennon Miller and David Watson. And he can't. Where is he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How are we not bringing him in, developing him? It's absolutely mental. Rangers. See if my son has come to me and says, I've got a contract offer for Rangers, or I'm going to Motherwell. I'm saying, you're going to Motherwell, son. You're not going to Rangers because you'll never get a game. Who in their right mind would send a boy to try and play for Rangers just now? Do you know what I mean? Because they're never ever going to get a look in, because there's no pathway to the old firm. Even the B team this season, what's their schedule all about? Glamour friendlies here and everywhere. Where's the reserve league? Put them in a reserve league. Let them come up against. Kilmarnock put a team out last month, and it like Kevin Van Veen, Greg Stewart. I want to see Leon King up against them, getting good experience against proven professionals that are coming back for injuries, or on the fringes of a team. Make it a good level, make it work. But it's just no. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. We're going to delve into it more in the summer. Because even we've all looked at left back. Sterling's finally settled now, Thommo, right? But it wasn't for a couple of matches there. How did Robbie Fraser not play against Dundee on Wednesday night? What was a Herman throwing a young lad in? Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, give him some minutes off the bench, let him come in, let him get settled. But we don't put Sterling into Midley Park when the team is screaming for it last Wednesday, totally screaming for it. And it's just, I can't understand it. I struggle.
No, definitely. Time's going on, so we'll finish up just with a little bit of. Said we'll have a little look at the fixtures, the last 5 fixtures in the league, see how they'll go. I've had a little look back over the last 3-4 seasons of Celtic after the split. I'm going to try and be positive here, but they've not been great after the split. Bit of hit and miss. Couple of wins, couple of defeats, draws spattered around. So, Billy, looking back at that, does that give you a little bit more hope going into these last 5 games that they've not really had the pressure on them as much as what they might have had at the moment? Does that give you a little bit of hope going into the last 5 games?
You can look at it 2 ways, Thommo. That they've had these up
and downs. Positive way to look at it.
Well, I'll go with both. So you're looking at it like the 55 season. Obviously, we won it, but all these other times they'd already won the league by the time the split had came, or just within the first match of it. So were they playing out their skin? Probably not. But the other side of that coin is they've not actually had a title race come this close for an awful long time. So we need to see what they're made of. We've said this before. This isn't the same team that was there last season, but even the players, I don't really recognise any of the players when I watched that game at the weekend either. So none of these players have, or not none, but there's a lot of them don't have title winning mentalities either. They've not went down to the wire in a title race. It's maybe going to go down to the last game or two. So this is the disappointing thing is I don't think we've got the mindset for it as well. But if we could dig it out and get that form back that we had January, February time, then there's every chance we could push them and pip them to it, because I don't think their players have experienced it either.
I've seen Kyle Lafferty's playing for the non-league team. See if we can get him back for his end of season exploits that he used to.
This is about the right time for him to come in.
Hey?
This is the right time for him to come in.
That's what I mean. I see if we can get him in for a couple of games. And what's your thoughts, Scotty? Do you think it's a bit of false hope, or do you think, yeah, we can look at the past and maybe do something?
First thing we need to do is we're playing first on Saturday, Sunday, whenever it is. We need to go out and win 4-0. Claw goal difference back. Bare minimum requirement. We're away to St Martin's, a hard match, I know. But if we're really made a title winning stuff, then that's what we need to do to win this. See if you get that and you claw a couple of goals back, then you've got more pressure on Celtic, because we'll be level on points with a couple of goals behind or whatever. They're away to Dundee on that surface, which isn't an easy match. I think personally Celtic will drop their points at home. I don't think they're going to drop them away from home. I think Celtic play better away from home than what they do at home. But that's what Rangers need to do the weekend. They need to go out and throw a gauntlet down and say, right, we're coming, kind of thing. Go to St Mirren, fay off, win a game first and foremost, and then win it by a couple of goals. And then you'll see what Celtic are made of. If they come out and they answer it with a 3-0 win, then fair enough. Do they scrape a win? Can you see it in their faces? Is the pressure starting to get to them? It's up to Rangers now to really put it on them. Stuart's just said, what about Rugby Park? Celtic haven't won it all season, but knowing Celtic, this will probably be their time that they go and win at Rugby Park. I really think the home form this season has been nothing spectacular, and I think that's potentially where they fall.
Right, good point. So I think, let's say, conscious of the time, we could go on for a lot longer, but it's been a good chat tonight, so we'll wrap it up there. Any final words, Billy?
Just to answer Curry, it's a guitar amp, not a bass amp, but it is a great one. But no, just I'm not going to get carried away with yesterday's result. Happy about it. Happy to be in a cup final. The players need to turn up now and show that was just a blip the other week there, and put some real pressure on Celtic starting from this weekend. So just want to say thank you everybody for the comments. I've been reading them as we go along, and thanks for watching.
Excellent. Cheers, Billy. And Scott, same to you. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say and say your goodbyes?
Just thanks everybody for tuning in. Obviously, we've got FM series up on the channel just now as well. That's on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:30. I'm only doing one season. Get on the videos, get any comments on the videos, and let me know if it's good content, if it's rubbish, so I know whether I'm going to stick about for a second season, because it's a lot of work. Guys, subscribe. Thanks to all the viewers. Thanks to mods for coming on. Cheers for tuning in. Billy, solid job. Billy. Thommo, solid job hosting tonight, mate.
Thanks very much, Scotty. Thank you. Appreciated the opportunity. It's been good. So yeah, I'll just finish by echoing what Billy and Scott have said. Thanks to everyone for liking, subscribing, getting involved in the chat. I say makes a massive difference. And yeah, hopefully in the coming weeks things will be a bit more upbeat. Some more wins for the Rangers, and see what happens. But see you all on Friday, and yeah, please do tune in to Scott's series with Football Manager. It is pretty interesting to see what's happening there. So yeah, thanks again for everyone for watching, and have a nice evening.